Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I am your host, Christine Innes, and I am super excited to have this beautiful, delightful lady, Alison, joining me today. So thank you for joining me, lovely.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, yeah. Look, it's, like sometimes when you meet somebody and you just go, I have to talk to this person so much more, and you're just one of those people. I'm just sort of like, I'm just so drawn to you, just like your energy, but I love your passion. I think that's sort of really where I want to talk about today, because how your passion can be your business. And I think that's so important for people out there that want to sort of leave the corporate world, but they're like going, oh, I have this passion, but can I really make it a business? And the answer for me, it is yes. And I would love to get your thoughts, but I just want to tell everyone that you're an incredible business coach. And what I really love about you is the fact that you're very heart-centered as well. And you actually live and breathe everything that you talk. And, authenticity is one of my core values. So I think that's why I'm very... I want to say attracted. Like I felt like I'm like all loved up over you, but
this is good. I'll take it. Thank you.
But when you can feel a connection with somebody. Yes. Yeah. So I'm super excited. So thank you so much for joining me today.
The feeling is mutual.
Oh, thank you so much, lovely. I really do appreciate that. So, do you want to tell people just a little bit more about yourself and your business, and sort of what sort of drove you to start your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so many things. Honestly, so many things. So my business was literally created from my life change when I became a mum. So it took me a while, because you said how I walked my talk. It took me until I had my second child to actually create a business from my purpose and my passion. It took me 2 years to really start understanding the training, the belief systems, recalibrating myself into the frequency that I wanted to be at, where I could actually bring forth my passion and my purpose and really own it. So it wasn't a quick journey. It wasn't I had an idea and I created something. I still remember the moment where I caught myself thinking that I needed to make a massive change. And it was, every time I think about it and I feel it, I get goosebumps. But I was standing in my living room at the time, looking out over the water in my home. I was pregnant with Max, my eldest, and I was feeling really, really low, because I was at work and I'd been able to explain to everyone, finally, I'm sure they must have known, but I was pregnant. And I expected this incredible, joy. I expected everyone around me to be really excited, really congratulatory, and telling me about how wonderful this motherhood journey was going to be. And they didn't. They actually told me all the opposite. They told me how hard it would be, how stressful it was going to be, how my life would never be the same. There was a touch of humor and sarcasm, but, it really changed my perspective from what I'd been envisaging for the past 12 weeks. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was catching myself buying into a belief that was surrounding me, as opposed to a belief that I was actively creating for myself, which is what I had been doing. But because I was absorbing all of this information from everybody else, it was overriding the belief that I'd started to build about how I wanted my vision of parenting to be. And it was that moment of understanding how your mind works, how your brain works, the patterning, the creation of thought, therefore creates your reality, therefore creates your emotions, that made me go, hang on a sec, there's something in this and I need to make a change. I need to figure out how I start to repattern my world and my life and consciously create an existence that is fully of my values and of my beliefs. And therefore I went on my learning journey. I studied, I put into practice all of these things. And then by the time I was having my second child, I said, actually, going back to work isn't what I truly want to do, because the passion that I felt in contributing to two little people's lives all of a sudden needs to match the same in my career. And that's when I said, actually, I need to create something that is far more fulfilling, far more of a contribution in the world. And then I went down the, how do I do that? What does it look like? And then I started those building blocks. So it's been a really beautiful, long journey, but it all began with me.
I love that so much, because I think sometimes, like you say it very real, because the fact is sometimes it takes us a few little lessons in life for it to click, or we sometimes don't learn the bigger lesson the first time round, and we need to go through it. But when you said, you had all these thoughts and that about how it was going to be about being a mum, and when other people start doing that, it is that choice that you have. And that is this, I don't think it matters in any aspect of life, whatever change we're going through, we have the choice whether to buy into that or we don't. And it's the same in going into business. You have the choice to either buy in, to go, oh, it's going to be really hard and I'm going to struggle, I'm not going to have any money, or the fact we can actually create this reality that it is going to be, and actually raise our energy, raise our vibration to actually match that, so that it is more of a harmonious sort of like transition when you go into it, because it's your thoughts, your beliefs, opposed to worrying about what everybody else is actually thinking or may have experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so much of the time we don't give ourselves the space to look at our lives and say, where are we not in alignment? And why might that be? Has my values, my perception, my expectations, have they changed? Or is the environment and the situations that are currently around me not where I want to be anymore? I'd been on that corporate wheel for such a long time, and I'd been getting small wins along the way, and I was pretty satisfied. But it wasn't until I had this other experience of becoming a mum and realizing, how small we are in the world and how much potential and possibility there is, that I thought those little wins, they're not enough anymore. They're never going to give me the same satisfaction as raising a human being, as creating a human being. And I now need to do that. I was like, there must be other people in the world that feel like this. There must be other people that have this experience. And where can I find them? How can I start to be in their company so that I'm constantly thinking bigger, feeling bigger, contributing more? And that's the way that then I started to think. And it just completely changed the perspective of so much of my life, so much of my existence. And that's when I started to realize, entrepreneurship was definitely more my thing. Because I'd obliterated so many of those fears through those learnings, those fears that would have held me back previously, because I would have worried about what people were thinking. I would have created these assumptions and these stories in my mind that would have stopped me in my tracks before I'd even approached something. And then I was like, actually, I can do this bigger and better. All of these things are experiences. And if I don't test the boundaries of the complete unknown, what am I doing? And that's when I changed the belief around failure, challenge, assumptions, expectations, and started to try things and enjoy the experience. And that's, I guess, the biggest switch that created it for me. It was the experience that I wanted to have outweighed everything else.
I think it's very important, because a lot of the time in anything that we do in life, it is an experience, and we just go through the motions opposed to actually feeling it. And I think we get so disconnected with that we go, well, we know the result we want to achieve, but we forget to feel the highs and lows. And Jay Shetty says it best that, if you're like this in life, you're flatlining. Life is, like your heart rate monitor, you go up and down. And it's really about, experiencing all of that. And, anything in life, and especially when you go into business, you're going to experience a lot of different things, and
yes.
emotions definitely come up, because it's you. It is all about you. And it's not about being selfish or, you know, the ego and all that sort of stuff. It is actually you, because you're the product, you're the brand, you're the business. This is your idea. This is your baby that you're about to birth and, you know, grow and all of that. So it's massive.
It is. For me, it's been the biggest personal and professional development journey I could ever imagine embarking on.
Yeah,
definitely. It's opened so many doors to self-awareness and, you know, self-development. It's unreal. Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to expect more of yourself than you do in a role where someone's giving you a job description. Because when you're doing this for yourself, you're creating everything from scratch. And I was actually on a discovery call with a lady the other day, and she was worrying about, you know, creating this business and how she was going to do it and what exactly it was going to look like. And I just unveiled the concept with her that there's no blueprint here. You know, no one has stepped into her place before and said, this is how we do it. That's exactly where she's standing right now on the edge of a cliff saying, I want to start this business. What do I do? And and the concept was you jump, you know, you jump into it and you figure these things out as you go, because there's no one size fits all. And I'm sure every entrepreneur here that is listening to this or wants to go into entrepreneurship will have downloaded every single freebie they can get their hands on to find the one thing that is going to make a difference, the one thing that's going to make it all click. And I always share with my clients that until they've done one whole cycle in their business, one whole year, and actually reviewed exponentially the changes, the differences, the seasons, the cycles of themselves and their business and their clients or their customers, they're never going to be able to have that view that says, this is the one thing I need to do. This is the combination of things that are going to work for me. This is the combination of things that are going to work for my business. Because it has not yet been experienced. It is completely in the concept stage. And when you're at concept, it's a case of trying, solutionizing, strategizing, and building, you know, experiencing these things to determine what is going to work. And that just all of a sudden alleviated so much pressure for this lady, because she was like, you're so right. I've been looking for something to fit into. And that's why I'm struggling, because when you take that expectation away, all of a sudden, some people get more confronted because there's even less, but at least they then know that actually every step they take is a way forward. There's no deviations. There's only experiences, learnings, and getting back on the path.
And I know that this is so much within myself, because I've just done sort of, you know, the first 12 months, and you sit back and you just like go, well, that didn't work, but that did. But I'm not the same person that I was 12 months ago too. So then you have to learn to grow with that even further as well. And, you know, you said before that when you know, I think we're both very similar. We're very conscious, heart-centered people, and we want to make, and you said we want to make a contribution to society. We want to make an impact and do something that's going to offer value. But when we do that as well, we continue to grow, and sometimes your business grows and then you grow, but you may not grow on the different levels. And it is also trying to get that sort of like even balance between the two of where your business is, where you are, to make sure that you can sort of grow together as well. Because I learned so much more about myself. Like even every interview I sit back and I'm like going, oh my God, I have to go and learn that, or I have to look at that. You know, there's so much more. I feel like I'm a sponge sometimes. I just want to learn more, but you do that in business as well.
You do, absolutely, especially when it's heart-led, I think, more so, because it really matters to you. You know, everything you do, you feel, you really put all of yourself into it. And for it not to work out the way that you wanted or intended, you know, you really have to face off some of those demons and I I guess, the things that you could have done better but weren't quite ready for. And there's a lot of that is, I work with people that are scared of being visible, scared of being heard. And I think inside all of us there's a lot of that, because being seen to be opinionated, being seen to stand for something and not have an organization around you or a team around you initially is confronting, for yourself and for other people. So, making those really important decisions about where you do sit, where you do stand, what really matters to you, what your focus is for now, and just embracing the fact that it's never going to stop. You're never going to get to know everything. You're never going to get to know that point where your business, where you're completely and utterly satisfied, because every entrepreneur I know gets to that place and goes, oh, awesome. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do next? Where can I be making a bigger difference? How can I don't think anyone ever sits back on their laurels and just says, well, this is all brilliant, for a year. They always want to contribute more. They always then want to start another venture. They always want to support and mentor somebody else through these things. There's always something where they can step up and stand up and do something else. And I think when people realize that about themselves, that is, can I keep up with this momentum for a long period of time? And that's where sustainability in business then comes in, because I know for myself, I cannot, my first year in business, if I had tried to continue going at the way that I was going, I would have burnt out. It's not sustainable. And when I look back on my year, I can then plan out the areas where I can have those breaks, have those rests. Oh my goodness. Change things where I'm in my peak flow, where I know I'm going to have a heap of energy that I'm going to be able to put into something that's magical, that's on my hit list of things that I want to do, and that then becomes such a godsend in information and knowing myself, to be able to know what I can bring and how I can maximize my efforts and my energy, to make sure that I can just keep going. I don't have to fall over or rest up or burn out in order to achieve these results that I want. It's all within the flow that I can create. And I think that's a really important thing to understand about ourselves. How's it been for you?
Oh, look, everything you're saying, I was like, oh my God, that's so me. Like, I had these, these things that I wanted to do, but the one big thing is reflection is, I needed to reflect back, because it's the personal growth, but also the business growth that has happened in sort of 12 months. And even though maybe the business isn't, the growth that you want it to be, but my personal growth has been probably the biggest thing. And I was on a call the other day, and I'd worked with this coach probably about 8 months ago, and she said to me, she goes, I just watch your videos and I see the change in you. She goes, it's not the physical change within you, it's your energy, it's the way that you are showing up more. And I think when you can start seeing that inner change within yourself, then you know that, okay, you're really embracing the person that you're envisioning that you want to become. And that is then also a reflection in your business, because you know that you're in that alignment. You know that what you want to do and how you want to help others, you're practicing and preaching that as well, and following that. And I just want people to know that business is difficult. It can be quite difficult, but the thing is that you have to trust within yourself, and just know and measure what your success is, because I had what success looked like, but then I had to change my whole thought pattern around what that really is.
And it's interesting that you say that, because to me, when I actually went into what is success, to me it was a feeling. It was a feeling of accomplishment. It was a feeling of blowing my mind at experiencing and doing something that I didn't think I could ever do. I still have moments now where I think, I do a video or I have done an interview and I go, I can never watch that. I just can't look at it back. It's not, but then I do eventually. And I'm like, that is the feeling of success to me. It's not down to the materialistic thing, or a client has a major breakthrough and a huge success. And then I'm like, oh, that's the feeling of success. That's the feeling of accomplishment. Yet until that point, I had been experiencing that, you know, success was materialistic. It was, how many clients do I have? How much money is the business turning over? How much can I pay myself? You know, how much do people understand my brand, or, you know, whatever it might be. It was all the measurable things, but actually the biggest push for me has been the immeasurable. You know, it's the things that are my experiences, my feelings, my pushing the boundaries of what is easy for me. And shifting that and twisting that has changed my entire business goals, my entire business strategies to really kind of have those opportunities, those experiences. And it has grown and changed the business, because I'm showing up in a very different way, with a different energy, with a different vibration, with a different expectation on myself. Because it's no longer about the things that don't mean as much to me or feel as fulfilling to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, you know, I like to look at what's going to make me uncomfortable. Like, where am I the most uncomfortable? And even 12 months ago, there would be no way that I would have been on camera, because I was actually scared of being visible. And it's really interesting that people say to me, oh, but you have this show and, you know, like you do lives and all that. I'm like, oh, yeah, but 12 months ago, I would be sweating. I would, you know, it would just be the most uncomfortable thing ever. But I had to learn that, okay, I have to push through it, because it's making me uncomfortable, but it's making me grow better. And so I look at my business goals as, where am I going to be uncomfortable to where I want to grow? And that helps me push further out of those comfort zones. But also, well, what else can I contribute more? How can I give more and give more of a service? And that is when I think, for me, that's when the magic really happens, because it's not about me anymore. It's about where else I can actually give.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. Yeah, I feel very similar. Very, very similar.
Yeah, we are. I think that's, you know, and I love it how you said, you know, like that, you know, well, like going back, and you said before, you know, you did like a little bit of a reflection, and you knew that in the 12 months that you knew where your peaks of flow were, and, you know, where, you know, you might have needed to take a little bit more time out. And I think it's really important for people to do that, because there are times in life and also in business where we know that we're going to have busy periods. Like January is a crazy month for me, because we've got birthdays and, you know, all that sort of stuff happening, and it's just after Christmas. So I know that, you know, I can't schedule a lot during that time.
Yeah.
You know, I think we just have to be a little bit more logical and more practical as well. And just knowing that, you know what, if you're going to have school going back, you're going to have all these other things, it's okay for you to take that step back and to focus on that, because that's one of the real reasons why you go into business, you know, is to have that flexibility, to have that, you know, availability to friends and family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love reflection is a big thing for me. And I think one of the biggest things that I took from my first year of reflection was how quick a year goes and how much I achieved that I didn't even expect to. So I hadn't even put it on my list. So now I usually just have one thing that I want to achieve every single month. And that is usually enough, because then it leaves me open to opportunities that I can say yes to. So I quarterly vision cast, and then I always look back on, what did I learn? What went well? What didn't go so well? How am I feeling about that month? You know, because oftentimes I'm my worst critic. So I will be my hardest. I will be hardest on myself. So when I look back, it's very important to celebrate every single success and really identify that something that might not have worked out, I can see the reason for it. Because the more I train my brain to understand and appreciate that something didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I can now see that there was a reason for it. When I'm in the midst of those challenging times and those difficulties, I'll remember and understand, well, I'm going to understand this later on, so just let it happen, let it flow. It's not meant to be. Don't push, don't stretch myself outside of what is reasonable, given what I'm coming up against, what I'm working with, how it's actually feeling. And it's amazing how much that personal growth makes such a difference to the way you can respond to things, as opposed to those instinctual reactions, that you can change those habits and those belief systems just on that retraining of reflecting. You know, there's so much to be learned in looking at something from an observing point of view. And I really, really enjoy that. And it's funny how you said about your energy changed. I've got a program where I have everyone who joins do a video at the beginning, talk about what it is they want to experience, their intentions, their expectations, their goals. And part of their graduation is to go back and look at that video and then do another one on how it made them feel, what they noticed about themselves, what they could witness in terms of transformation, what that looked like, what that felt like, to go back and just see a 12-week period of growth, of change. And their demeanor, their posture, the way they talk, everything about them is so different, even in that short space of time. And when you think you can quadruple that in the course of a year, that's phenomenal. Yeah. So when they see it in a quadrant like that, you start to realize how short a year might feel when you're looking back on it, but actually how much you really can accomplish if you section it out in such a way.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, I think that's actually really critical for people going into business, is that it's great to have these 12-month plan goals and all of that, but it is also the measure of of your growth, your success and all of that. Break it down into smaller sections, because if you can see the growth within 12 weeks, imagine what it's going to be in 6 months, and keep going forward in that way. I had a client who did not want to go on video, and she goes, "Oh, well, how do you do it?" And I said, "You know what? I literally just got my phone out and just started recording myself. And, I just had to get over it. And even though I didn't like watching myself, but I started listening to the content of, oh my God, I actually do know what I'm talking about. Like it's that light bulb moment that sort of, goes on about. But I think sometimes people need to just sort of go, the trust within themselves, look at the growth, but do what's going to make you scared, do it, and think, well, what's the worst that's really going to happen? I
posted the very first video that I ever did, and I say I ever did, it was the one that I posted, and it was a video, it wasn't even a live, so God knows how many times I'd recorded it. But it was horrific. It was absolute carnage. I was so stiff. I was so uncomfortable. I could literally feel the anxiety through the video. And, again, I posted it into my membership and I said, hey guys, here you go. This is my very first video. This is something that I want you to have a look at and tell me what you see. And they were all like, there's not that much difference. Can't see that much change. Like, you look different because it was a while ago, and you're not as, you obviously made an effort for that video, and, it was less conversational style. And there was me thinking, I haven't got a point. I'm not really giving any value. I look so uncomfortable. I'm not even smiling. There was not one smile in that video. And yet, everyone else that was watching it just saw me, if that makes sense. And that taught me a huge lesson. Whereas my intention for that was to teach them a lesson. I was to teach them that, these things for everyone, when they start, they're awkward. It's uncomfortable. You don't feel confident. You really don't have any idea how to manage a conversation to keep people engaged. There's none of that there. This is what you learn as you do it. And it still taught me something. So every time I'm intending to teach, every time I'm intending to add value, I still gain so much from that interaction, that conversation. So it was really, really, really eye-opening for me. But I will still that was a very different video to the ones that I do now.
I'm the same. I've got videos that go back. I had my nieces over the school holidays, and they're like going through and having a look, and they're going, "Oh, you look really different, Auntie Christine." But oh, I can see this, and but it's still me. Like, and it was about just getting over that fear as such, and.
Yeah.
I guess when you go into business, there is all those fears, those insecurities, the self-doubt, that mean girl voice is going to go off in your head big time. And you sometimes just need to go either tell it to shut up and move forward because that's how you're going to have to go through. And, you're going to stumble sometimes. There are going to be things that may not go according to plan. But if you can learn from all of those lessons, it allows you to be better in your business as well, because you know what works, what doesn't work, and you don't know until you try. And I guess we tell our kids that all the time. You don't know if you don't try. You don't know if you don't try. So
practice.
Yeah,
definitely. Always practice. I love it. It. It is awkward. It's uncomfortable, but it's who you want to be. When you cast your vision forward and you think about, what is it that I want to be doing? How do I want to be doing that? What's going to make the biggest impact? What really lights me up? You can see yourself differently. You can definitely see where you want to be, what you want to be doing. And then you realize how much growth it's going to take to get you there. All those things that might still be in the way of you being that person. And that doesn't always have to be the time factor. It's the experience factor. And how can I start getting more comfortable in these environments, with these situations, with these exposures, and lean into it, knowing that eventually you're still going to meet that vision. You can do it as quickly or as slowly as you want to, but the intention is set.
I love that, because I think sometimes when we go into business and you start, is that you have like a race going on in your mind that you want to get to the finish line quickly. But sometimes we need to remember just to sort of slow down and actually stop, refuel, get a few groceries, pamper ourselves a little bit, so that you can get back and continue on the race, because it is that end destination that you want to reach to. And it is about enjoying the experience, enjoying everything that's coming and learning from it, opposed to just getting to the end.
Yeah, because when you get to the end, it's never really going to end. It just isn't. There's going to be something that you're going to want to do after that, whatever that might be. Because I've never got to the end of something and thought, I'm done now. This is it. There's always something else afterwards, even if it's in a completely different direction. There's always something else to do, to experience, to have, to be. And I have no idea what's going to come along in the interim to kind of get me there. So I have this saying, something magical is happening today. Something magical is coming my way. And that's like my affirmation that I say every single day, because I'm so rigid in my planning and my strategies and my routines daily to keep me achieving the things that I want to achieve, that I still need to keep myself open to possibilities, to opportunities, to experiences that I can't see, because that's where the magic lies for me. And they're available every single minute of every single day. But if I'm just so narrowly focused on my intentions and my expectations, and I'm not open to what might be out there, then I limit myself, and I don't want to do that. So if it takes me a little bit longer to get to where I want to be, that's okay, because I'm enjoying the process. I'm loving the journey. And as long as I'm supported and the business is doing what it needs to be doing in all respects, impact, income, influence, then I'm already there. Like, I've already met those expectations. So it's kind of it's the personal drivers, the personal goals, the next milestone.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love it because you don't know what's going to happen every
Mm.
day. You know, life, I always say life is a roller coaster. You have up and down, twists and turns. Sometimes you have to go backwards just to sort of get off the ride. But the fact is that if you continue to keep in control of it, you do forget to notice those different things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. Like the magic can just happen at any time during the day. And it could just be, you know, by a conversation or you reading something or, you know,
Yeah.
discovering something else that is going to add more impact into your life. So I think if anyone can take anything away, just to know that, you know, something good is going to happen every single day and just to allow it and just to be in that moment. I think that's probably one of the big things for people in this, you know, this episode. I think if we can get people to just go, experience the experiences, you know, actually live them and,
Yeah.
you know, feel them and, you know, just appreciate each moment that comes.
Yeah. Don't put your life and your business on hold waiting for that, you know, magical milestone that you're reaching, because it will happen. But if you're not finding those magical moments in the right nows, then you might blink and miss some amazing things that happen or that are meant to be really cherished. And I think a lot of people really do kind of head down, bum up so often to get where they want to be that they do miss parts of that journey. And celebrating themselves, acknowledging themselves, really honoring the process. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's just beautiful. And I really think that's, you know, what people need to do, because I remember back in my corporate days, I was just so focused on work. I was so focused on getting the next promotion and so focused on doing that,
Yeah.
that I actually forgot to enjoy life. I always say that I was sleepwalking through life. You know, I was just
living for the weekend.
Yep, that was it. You know, but now it's like every day I wake up and I have my own routine, you know, that I do and that, you know, connects me back to myself. But if, you know, if something doesn't happen, I'm like, okay, well, there's a lesson in that, or I learn from it, or I meet somebody new. Like there's always these beautiful things that happen on a day to day. And when you're present in that moment, you then can learn to appreciate that so much more.
Yes, and enjoy it. You never
Yes.
know what tomorrow is going to bring. So
No, definitely not.
grab every single second.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming, because I think this is just such a beautiful conversation that I really hope that people, you know, really tune in and listen. And if they take away that, you know, just remember to experience, you know, the whole journey. And it's not just the business journey, it's your personal journey as well, because you are going to grow in extremes. I don't normally use that word, but it does happen with it as well. So I want to thank you, Alison, so much for coming. I'm going to put all the details below that everyone be able to reach out, go and check out her website, check out her programs. They're just beautiful. And as I said, she's a beautiful heart-centered woman. And I thank you so much for coming on and joining us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's been amazing. I could just carry on talking with you, Christine.
Oh, no, I know. And like, I have to sometimes like keep watching the timer again, because I can talk forever. So, but that's okay. I want to thank everyone for joining me for this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show. I'm your host, Christine Innes. And just to remember to live life with passion every single day. Love and light to you all.